they have on the internet into the heads using the data plugs. The data plugs are the third-party services that head owners can get a copy from other companies, for example, Facebook and Twitter. The data plugs itself do not ever see or hold or keep a copy of the head data. So it's a straight import system. Now, data comes into the head, it becomes a subject access request. Legally, it becomes your data, which is head data, and no longer the source data. Okay. Since it's the individual that controls the head, the head micro server becomes a universal user account or private data account. This is very much like you go to a bank, you open up a monetary account to hold your money. You open up a head to hold your data. Now, data, to access and to read data from the head, we have a consent-based system, what we call data debits. Debiting as in you're removing data or removing data from your head. So you can see that it's actually the users of the third-party applications, the data consumers, can only request data from your head through data debits. It's a permission system. Right. Previously, individuals can only interact with application directly, and they give away the data every time. In return, they get a service, a social network or email service, which is used for free, but it's actually being paid for by your data. Although you get this service, you do not get to have a copy of your data. You do not have a copy of the analytics that they run on data. So you cannot reuse or share with other applications. Say your email is impossible. It's impossible to share your email data with another application. Forwarding email is passing a copy over. That's not true sharing of data. Okay. With the microserver, head owners get to keep the data. They can reuse and reshare the data with other applications. Since it's API-based, the businesses, corporations, can build in the ability for the individual to operate the microservices within their own app. This is the legal picture of the head data ownership. The individual is the data controller and the data processor. To quickly explain this, in the Facebook scenario, the data controller is actually Facebook itself and not us. We are only the data source. The data processor is also Facebook. Now we want to bring the data controller and the data processor back into the head microserver, which belongs to you. So the head is the infrastructure for applications and websites to have direct relationships with the users. Okay. Businesses, they like this because they can ask the individual, their own customers, for more data instead of asking third party. Again, following the Facebook example, it's impossible for Facebook to ask Google for a copy of the data so that they can perform better analysis. However, there's nothing stopping the owner from getting both the Facebook data and the Google data into the same microserver and have other third-party applications or corporations running analysis on the combined set of data. The head microserver is also equipped with a smart head engine. The smart head engine is our version of a compute engine whereby now we talk about AI tools, AI analytics, where the tools can execute within the head itself. Instead of having a copy of the head data, go to another machine, execute your data has already left the system. So our system will allow you to actually write AI codes and have it run on the microserver itself. The tools, once installed on the Smart Hat engine, it can create new insights and new data which is written back into the hat for further sharing. So now within the hat itself, there is a closed loop feedback. The more data you have and the more tools you run, the more insights you have on your own data. This actually makes your data more valuable to corporations. The head owner can share new data with other applications the normal way as all other head data, the raw data you pull in from Facebook. The computer data can also be shared in the same way or through a data debit. The head owner can also view the new data generated by the Smart Hat engine functions to give them more insights into their own digital life, health, and activities. So, for example, if you input Fitbit data into your system, Fitbit will say that, hey, you have walked 10,000 steps today. You have walked 8,000 steps the next day, but without further analytics software or AI software to tell you what is the impact of the 10,000 steps, is just raw data to you is quite meaningless, right? We can run AI shift functions to say that, hey, you actually need to cut down your weight by another kilogram. You actually need to walk another 1,000 steps per day, and you are shocked. Okay. Companies need machine learning, predictive analytics, and personalization if they want to compete. Because now advertisement is cash on net, they throw it out to the worldwide web and see who bites instead of personalizing the services to what you need. Traditional AI model takes the app data someplace else, remove it out of the source, analyze it, and then the data stays there, right? Whereas in our system, the data, the analyzed data is still residing in your head or gets written back into your head. With the heads, instead of getting AI from large tech companies, they can get it from their own customers because the head owners who have already run those AI algorithm within their head already. Data scientists can install their tools into head to get rewarded with royalties when an ad uses the data or the insight generated. Over time, with more plugs and applications, more data will fuel more tools that will create more data that will fuel more applications. The head becomes more intelligent, the data becomes more precious, and the individual becomes more valuable. This is where you can download a copy of our head ad. You can inside the head ad, you can. There's a few shift functions. There's also a few data plugs. If you pull in the Facebook data plug and you run one of the, if you pull in, for example, the Twitter plug to import your Twitter tweets into your system, and you run the sentiment analysis on it, it will be able to tell you, hey, how many negative feelings that you're posting on Twitter and how many of them are positive. So it's just a basic way of showing what can be done. One of the feature we offer applications developer is a sign-on function, not just a OAuth based sign-in function. At the same time, you will be able to request for data that is already valuable to your application. Say, for example, if you want to write a application that recommends new music to end user. So what do? You can just say, hey, if you're a head user, please tell me the songs that you like. Now, the songs that I like, instead of giving you the list of songs and asking you to analyze what's the songs that I like, what we will give you, we are having a scientist who write a sheet function that will tell you, hey, 80% of the time, this head owner likes sentimental music. This head owner likes to listen to bossa nova in the afternoon. So these are the patterns that is already analyzed. These are actually more valuable to you than just raw data of the songs of the list of songs on the Spotify list. Relationship-wise, HeadX or the Head Data Exchange is our commercial organization. We build services around the open source head. Our head database with the controlling microservice controller is open source. So that organizations can issue heads to their own customers, and the data that individuals own can be spent on personalization and insights. I'm from Head Lab. Head Lab is our R&D, Innovation Space and Center for Research. Our research is not just technical. We go into how it impacts education, what is how it impacts the personal data economy, whether policy needs to be changed whether at the government level or the legal framework. We also have the Head Community Foundation. The Head Community Foundation ensures that all the apps that we write and publish into the ecosystem follows a certain standard. This is done to prevent someone from writing a malicious data plug that says, hey, you're supposed to import data from company X and then organize it and write it straight into the head. So the Head Community Foundation will verify the code is, hey, there's no copy being sent out maliciously to a black site. And then the data is correctly mapped. We also have the Head Accelerator Program. The Head Accelerator Program is actually the next phase is already for companies who has already in their second and third stage with current customers, they want to get on the head. The Ultima Fund program that we introduced this morning is actually at an earlier stage. If you have an idea, if you have an app that you want to build and you are looking at a platform to build on top of, that is what the Ultima Fund is for. This is our history. We started with a UK Research Council Fund, 2013 with Professor Irene Ng. Irene Ng, Professor is our CEO. Since then, we have been awarded more than £10 million to do research and go into our HeadX commercialization efforts. We started as a university program from Warwick, Cambridge, Edinburgh. So if you have I'm here to speak with you because we want to partner developers like yourself to come up with MVPs, experiments, and pilots. So HeadLab, that's what we are doing. We have HeadX is our live commercial space. That is also on the Head Store. You will find links to our iOS app and the Android app application. Yeah, that's the end of my presentation deck. I want to summarize what technically platform can do for developers depending on what stage you have. Because as a startup, you want to develop software, a lot of the things will eat into your cost, but has got no business value to you. Things like account management, OAuth sign-on tools, basic data storage, and the head platform can take care of it for you. So you can concentrate on your business. Furthermore, we add on to do analytics so that some of the data are already available about the end user are also available for your use. So also you may not want to develop a full application as on your own. You may want to consider developing data plugs. If you have got contacts, for example, in AIA, they are willing to, because of your close relationship, you want to put data, finance data into the head, you can do that. If you have a data plug, a significant data plug, we give bounties for you to write data plugs. That's one way of contributing into. That's one way of developing. Some people, I know for myself, I cannot do front-facing applications. I'm not good at that, but I'm very good at backend. So a data plug is more suitable for me. The other one is also to build functions for the smart head engine. Say if now the big thing is data science, deep learning, AI, fast AI platform. Those can be written as she functions as part of the head ecosystem. So for she functions, if your she functions get adopted into the head ecosystem, you get 20% royalties from calls. So if you write a she function that analyze Facebook posts, so if the more people who come and companies like your analytics, if your she function can tell whether the person is happy or sad or willing to spend more money buying things just from Facebook posts, I think that's valuable to companies. So you actually get a percentage royalty. So there are 3 layers of development: AI, data manipulation, transformation, imports, and of course your own application to think about. The last thing I want to share with you before I open the floor is this. This is our upcoming data that okay, these are the upcoming data that we already have some data plugs running and some she functions running. And this is the upcoming data we will make available as API for the last stage. Say we can tell you personal data, we can tell you passport numbers, provided that they share. We can already compute what is the current weight, the income group, number of friends on Facebook, number of followers on Twitter. Means we have a social profile, we have a body profile. We can tell you education, household situations, lifestyle, interests and priorities. And we are releasing this, we are designing and releasing this API in a W3C compliant format. So we are standard based on this one. So as you build on your app, if there are things that you think you may want and you know how to get it, speak with us, we may just put in as part of a standard profile. Or even better, just write the she function and the data plug and earn more money from it. Okay, questions?
The Bonte is only for Scala language or there's more?
Currently, we have only written the data plug in Scala, but that doesn't stop you from writing it in any other language.
So the currently only Bonte is for Scala.
Yeah, but you can write in any language. Because it's just API, we are fastest in Scala. However, the she function is preferably you write it in Java or Python. Things that are the she functions technically we run it as a lambda or serverless function, so it's much easier for you to write it in those languages. Then again, AI functions is almost all written in Python anyway, so we do support writing she functions in Python.
Yeah, so this is a database on personal data, right?
Yeah.
This is a database on personal data. For
Yeah.
example, from a business point of view, let's say I want to know some information from of this person that is not available on this database yet. So what can we do, or do we just have to wait that the data becomes available?
Okay, firstly, you can tell through your application, you can tell the user that I want, for example, I want Fitbit data. So you ask for permission to have Fitbit data first. Okay, then me as a user, okay, I give you permission for Fitbit data, expecting it, then I'll go import the data myself. So when the data is important, you'll be informed. So because it's very unlikely for a end user to have the whole complete set of data that you need. So what the system will allow you to request for the data that you need first, then as it's available, it's sent to you. No further questions?
Any questions?
Okay.
Anything you want to add, Terry?
No, we are good. I think that we are thinking about how to use it.
I think I'll just echo what Irene told me, which is that she approaches potential app developers in two ways. One is, can you buy 1 million hats right now? No? Oh, can you do a data block? Or can you do a small little use case, like 1 hat, 2 hat? So that's not meant to boast. It's just a way of how we are sorting our business model out. If we definitely want to grow a huge army of app developers working on the ecosystem, and we are willing to support that. We're putting where our resources and our money where our mouth is. But there's also, we see a huge market out there, if you're a financial institution or a health institution or whatever, that can deploy at scale. And I think we're getting to be ready at that stage as well. But we are here, Triune is here to support those startups who are willing to embrace this ethos, this data, taking data back for our own private benefit, and just going with it. So yeah.
So when you say give your customers a hat, does it mean that make a data plug for your customer like that or what?
No, when your application gives your customer a hat, means that when they sign on to your application or register on your application, you provision a hat. Means that you make use of the hat to sign on. Instead of having the credentials being stored on your system, your entire user base can be farmed out.
So basically when we say give your customer a hat, it's like federate your customer data to
Federate to hat, yes. That is if you are starting from scratch. if you already have existing customer and existing data, instead of doing a total migration, you can do a partial migration and decide that, hey, these are sensitive data that I do not need to store, or these are sensitive data that should be passed back to the head owner. You can just move that part.
So in a way, we can say that head platform is like back-end as a service like that.
Back-end assisted service. I know what you're trying to get at. It's more than that, but it will work that way.
Okay, any more questions?
As a developer, if you want to develop fast, I know if I want to develop, I'll think of systems like Firebase, Twilio to get everything working. It works on the same principle as Firebase from the app side, but we have the added benefit of it being a private data store or personal data store.
So the data owner have to have head application or something to run this?
The head data owner needs the head application to take a look. It does not need the head app. It does not need the head application to approve the data debit, because you can ask when you ask to this is the technical implementation. When you request for certain data, you actually pass it. It's like OAuth. You actually pass it to the head URL. The head URL will generate a web page and say, hey, your application XYZ is requesting for this data. Do you approve or not? It's an OAuth thing. When it's approved, the permission page is the head itself. It's on the head. It's bound together with the head microservices. In fact, one of the head microservices is actually a UI to do the head permissions, head data debit permissions. So once it's approved, it routes back to you and says, hey, this is approved and this is the data debit code. And you use the data debit code and call the endpoint to get your data.
So if 10 business or 10 companies is requesting data from the user, then the user very busy to accept all this?
Because it's his app. Definitely when the business tool, because I'm using the app of business tool, when I access, of course he will ask for the data and permission, and you go for it. Of course, there are certain data that is open out there where we allow you to say, okay, just go through. If you set those as in your public profile, I think you're asking the public and private profile thing. So if all your data that he wants is all in your public profile, I don't need to ask you. So it just goes. But unlikely, you will want more data. There are more data available. You will want his interests and things like that. So of course, those are more important, and definitely it needs to be or consented to.
Okay. Is head hackable?
As best as we can make it. As best as we can make it. Our bottom line is you hack one, the rest is you. If you have 10,000 records for you to get everybody, you need to hack 10,000 times, unlike a central database.
Basically, it's the best strategy to get your head not hackable is don't be such a big, don't have such big enemies, because your head is just one.
Once you start monetizing.
The point is that one is one by itself, so you can't hack 1 million heads altogether at one time. Yeah. I never say you hack group. Never say you hack group. Yeah, never say.
Can a person own multiple hats?
Yes. Same as you can open multiple bank accounts.
Okay.
From the usage point, if you have more data in a single head, more different kind of data, more processing in a single head, that head has got value. uh, I have, if you think along that lines, is I do not think of any use case where you need multiple hacks. Then again, you can all, if there's someday you want to keep all your corporate data, all your corporate information about you on a different hack, you can do that. Not stopping.
Any more questions?
We are opening a master hat, right? Can I open a micro that I can integrate with?
What do you mean master hack?
When I hold one master, then I want to have a small micro, then I want to integrate that
Ah,
with it.
let me explain to you our design. It's not exactly what you wanted. In the head, we have this upcoming mode called a guardian mode. A guardian mode is, say, if you have a child, a minor, he can have, he or she can have a hat, but you as a parent want to control who has got access to her personal data. Okay, that's guardian hat. That's one way of hat control. The other use case is you can control the hat, or your parent, also a hat owner, can, because I'm sick or because I want to travel somewhere, I can temporarily pass guardianship to you. Please handle my hat data for me. That is the second use case for inter-hat relationship. The third use case is not really inter-hat, is what we are developing now. We call it the think boxes, think box technology. If you see the hub of all things is all your personal data, but there are things that you own. Say, for example, IoT devices in your house, the smart energy meters in your house. If you have access to those data, it does, strictly speaking, although you own it, it does not make sense to store it into your head, because there are other people in the house who are using it. So if head stores all your data, the team boxes will store all the data generated by your physical things that are shared in the household. Okay. The use case of what we have now is this morning I mentioned we have data generated from cars going in, from e-book readers going in, current project. So those are hardware related IoT devices. You can see them as IoT devices. They are going into a variant of a hat that is that's owned by a variant of a hat, what we call a think box, that's owned by a hat. Probably this is what you meant by a master hat. The micro hats are not meant to hold data about us, hold private data about a person. It's meant to hold data about his objects. So off the top of my head, for example, if you want to write another password storage, I will hold it in a think box rather than a hat. Because the think box, tomorrow I will, although you're supposed to hold your password, but most of the time you'll share your password with your wife. Okay, this is my bank account password. How do you share? Instead of you sending another copy, which is what is happening in the current password apps, why not share the single box of passwords?
Any questions?
How do you handle
PDPA, PDPA is Singaporean, right? Malaysia.
The EU data privacy?
Because
GDPR.
because yes, the Singapore one is also called PDPA. Can I quickly ask what is Malaysia PDPA? What does it cover? So is there Singapore one is actually deemed consent. Head is more explicit consent. A Singapore deemed consent means that so long as you install the application, is business friendly, business have access to your data.
Only that business. Meaning that if you make an app, right, that have multiple say customers inside it, I have to be handling the data in Malaysia only. I cannot put it in.
Correct. That is data sovereignty. A lot of countries has that. What PD, at least what I know from the PDPA in Singapore is like you have to protect data from data leakage, not just across borders, also across
Yes.
outside of the company.
So it's the same.
How it handles is firstly is even internally we do not have access to your data. We can steal one, but I can't steal everyone. We try to protect it from ourselves.
If you can still one, it's done already.
That is if you have a central database. If I steal one, is that single database is out.
Okay. Thanks very much. Unless there's one more burning question, we move on to the next program because we're running a bit late. Yeah? Okay. So our next presenter is from Ingenious House. Mr. Stanley Chong, and he's going to talk about how to grow and scale up. Do you need a picture?
Yeah, slot. Okay, another slot?
You need another slot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can take this out.
No, I just put it in. He needs two.
I might copy inside. Copy the file inside first.
That's not it. Okay, let me get you on the screen.
Ask you guys to sit in front. Everyone like sit in the front door, so we can hear everyone talk to each other.
Do you want to hold the mic or do you want to headset?
No need. Yeah. Can you sit in the front? Nobody else sit in the front?